Oh, another one bites the dust. Oh man, and she went and got gift that keeps on giving. And tried crawling back to you. You're supposed to stay with me. No, I'm not. Bye. Did I go too far when my ex-wife asked for an open marriage? Hello, True Story and True Story Nation. I'd love to give you my story and get everyone's responses on my story. I'm a new follower. I found you in December while I was off of work, enjoying my first holiday season by myself. I was used to being with my ex-wife, nieces, nephews, brothers, and cousins. But this past holiday season, I spent it alone. After my divorce, I started searching YouTube and online, and I found this channel, True Story Epic Channel. I started hearing all the stories, and I heard some about open marriage, and I said, bingo. This is just like what happened to me. Sort of, while I was listening, I kind of wasn't paying attention about the email address, and when I took it down, I said I have to send this guy my story before I go into work. Well, I typed it, but kind of forgot to send it in once I started it working. I was focusing and I wasn't listening anymore, but just recently I remembered after seeing a notification of one of your videos, decided, hey, I need to send him my story. If you can read this as soon as possible, I'd love to share this with some of my colleagues so they can hear my story. I've told them all about it already, but hearing it play out on a YouTube channel would be epic. Point intended. So, in 2024, my ex-wife of 8 years asked me for an open marriage. She told me it was a group of her colleagues that told her that this was the way to go. It's 2024. No one wants to be with the same person for the rest of their lives. My wife was telling me how one of the colleagues were saying how she jumped from guy to guy. That's how she runs her life. She can't see herself being with just one D and she needs to switch it up every now and again. That specific woman was not married, but the other ones were, and they all bragged about how some of them convinced their husband to open up the marriage. They all had boyfriends and girlfriends, but one or two of them was cheating on their husbands because they told them they did not want to open their marriages. My wife was telling me all of this, so when she's asking me for the open marriage, of course a lot is playing in my head. Well, I can just divorce her now because I just lost all respect for her. I can stay with her and say no, but she'll probably cheat on me, like her other colleagues are doing with their husband. I don't know why I decided that I wanted to go this route, but I just wanted to make her angry. I knew of all the women that were hitting on me on a daily basis. I have certain spots I'd go to for lunch. Waitresses would hit on me all the time. My colleague would tell me it's because of the ring on my finger. I'm attracting them, and they want to ruin a nice, happy home. I don't know what it was, but everywhere we went, and of course I never told my wife this. I didn't go home bragging, telling her ladies were hitting on me, but I'd never pursued any of the interest of those women. Like literally, women would tell me that I should take them out sometime, or even say how they would love to take me out. A couple of my colleagues were single, and they'd say, dude, just do it for us. Have them bring some other girls, but I would never go with it. I respected my relationship and I respected my marriage. Also, I'd go to the gas station 2 different times of the day, one in the morning, one before I left to go home. There was someone there hitting on me. Hey, handsome, coming back to see me again, huh? I don't know what it was. I never grew up a ladies' man. I didn't even go to prom. I was too afraid to talk to girls in high school, and as an adult, anyone I was in a relationship with, I was friends with until I met my ex-wife. We met on a blind date, but I never was a guy that walked up and approached women and said some slick lines to them just to get them to want to go out with me. I will say, before I got married, I never really had women falling over me. But when I was going to work as a married man, when I was married to my ex-wife, I really don't know what it was. They were all over me, even HR lady at my job. I did get into working out 2 years into our marriage, and I stuck with it heavy.
eating healthy and just doing the right thing with my body, trying to perfect my temple and protect it. I think it might have something to do with that. With my age and everything, I was close to 40. Maybe most men my age don't take care of themselves. That's probably what it was, but like I said, a lot of my colleagues would say, dude, that ring on your finger is powerful. I read about it in a book. There's been studies on this. I don't know what it was, but anyway, my ex wife was telling me all about how her colleagues had these open marriages and all these extra boyfriends and how they felt free. And she thought that it would be a good idea if we had an open marriage. I said, so you want this for us? Me to go out and sleep with other women, and you're supposed to go out and sleep with other men? She said, you don't necessarily have to sleep with anyone, really. It's just hanging out and having friends of the opposite sex, and everything is not about getting it on. I look at my ex-wife and I said, okay, let's do it. This woman got so excited, that's when I asked. I said, so, do you have someone already? She just looked at me and says, listen, we're not going to talk about who we deal with. Let's just protect ourselves. And of course, don't sleep with family members or friends or exes, and we're not going to bring anyone home. Fair. I looked at her and said, okay, whatever. She was super happy. That told me right there she had someone already. She probably had been cheating on me. I made it up in my mind that I was going to stop sleeping with my wife. I did want a divorce. I will tell you guys this. In my head, I said, we have to divorce. There's no coming back from this. But also, in my head, I thought, let me try it out with these girls that's been hitting on me. So I went to work and I told my colleagues that I couldn't go to lunch. I'd act like I had to get some extra work done, but I'd take a late lunch or sometimes an early lunch just so I could go to these restaurants by myself. For some reason, I felt a little embarrassed accepting these invitations from these waitresses to go on dates in front of other people that I knew and worked with because they knew I was married. They didn't know my situation because, well, I was too embarrassed to tell them that. I go to the first restaurant. I was by myself on a late lunch, and I got my favorite waitress who just loved waiting on me and my colleagues. She saw me come in and she said, yep, I know where to put him. Don't worry about it. Was a new hostess there. She's talking and flirting. I started flirting back. Right when she brought me my food, she tells me, you may as well just give me your number so we can talk later. I said that's a good idea. We exchanged numbers, and I told her what time I usually got home. Maybe we can hop on FaceTime. She was excited. Now this girl was beautiful. My ex-wife, she's not bad looking. She's not like the greatest woman I've been with, but this first waitress, we'll just say Crystal, 23 years old, amazing body, 5'2". She is just strikingly gorgeous. I can't even describe her. I can't even think of someone on the internet who even looks like her. Blonde hair, the way she's built. You'd probably think she is some type of African American in her or something, but she's completely white. Her body is just wow. That's the only way I can explain it. I couldn't wait to call her. She was the first one I wanted to smash. When I got off work that day, I stopped at the gas station. I usually go through in girl number 2. Rayena, Puerto Rican, and white woman, slim firecracker. Man, I really enjoyed her. She is so funny. Very slick at the mouth though, but she means well. She just has the sarcastic humor about her. Either you love it or you hate it. I really enjoyed her. We actually stopped talking because she ended up asking me for things. She was wanting me to take her son to school or pick him up from school and all types of weird stuff. I kind of fell back on her, but it was fun while it lasted. I went to one of her family barbecues and had so much fun. And girl number 3, Vanessa. She was the daughter of the woman that cleaned our house once a week. The woman that cleaned our house once a week was a 42-year-old woman, and she had a daughter that was 27. Yep, you heard it right. She had her at a very young age. Her child's father passed while they were in school. Some freak accident. Her daughter was actually in school, college studying to be a teacher, but during the summer she would work with her mom. With cleaning houses, sometimes they'll do it together. Sometimes they'll split up to get more work. It was her mother's company. Vanessa had come before to our home, but of course I didn't find any interest in her. I was a married man, and I was faithful. But since my wife wanted this open arrangement, I kind of looked at her a little different. I noticed the curves, I noticed the beauty, and I noticed the great conversation that we were having. We were having such a deep conversation. Her mother had to get her attention and say, "Finish up some work." "What are you doing?" I told her and her mother to take a break. "Don't worry about it. I'll pay them in full, but we can just relax for a minute. Now, for the record, I don't want people thinking that my ex-wife and I were some rich couple. Not at all. Paying someone $200 every 2 weeks to clean your house once a week wasn't a bad deal at all, and it wasn't tough on us. We didn't have children. Vanessa's mom's business did well. She cleaned several homes throughout the month. My ex-wife wasn't able to have children, so I accepted that I wasn't going to be a father. Vanessa and I sat on the back porch and talked. My ex-wife was gone, probably out with some boy toys she met. Well, Vanessa's mom was in the house still trying to clean because, well, she enjoyed working. Vanessa was telling me that maybe I was being too flirty and it was disrespectful to my wife. I told Vanessa all about my wife's idea of us having an open marriage. Vanessa couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I said, when she brought it up to me, I didn't know if I wanted to divorce her right then and there, or maybe participate in this game that she wanted. All I know is that I don't want to sleep with her anymore, and eventually I will divorce her, but this is what she wants. Then we'll give it a shot. That's when Vanessa leaned over and started kissing me, and then she told me that she's always found me attractive. She was so jealous of my wife, right, that I said, "Oh, wow." She asked if we could go somewhere private. I said, "Your mom's in the house." She says, "What about the basement?" That's where we went, down to the basement. We actually did the do right then and there. It was great. Vanessa gave me her cell phone number and told me to keep in touch and said, maybe we can make this a once a week thing. I said maybe if the wife's not here. I went upstairs to take a shower and eventually they left out. And then I realized I broke a rule. We weren't supposed to do anything in the house. Oops, my mistake. This went on from the middle of June 2024 to July 2024. July 2024, the 21st to be exact. My ex-wife came to me crying. She was gone most of the day and came home around 10 p.m., woke me up from my sleep, telling me how she wants to close the relationship and she's sorry that she ever asked me to do this. I'm wiping the crust out of my eyes and I'm saying, "Why are you crying? What is going on?" She's telling me how she doesn't want me to be upset with her and she just wants to close this relationship, but she'll be open and honest with me. Mind you, since she asked for this open marriage, we had not had sex one time. I was having sex and she clearly was, as well I know for certain, after what I'm about to tell you guys, she was definitely having sex without protection. She tells me she doesn't want me to get upset. I said, "What is it?" She tells me she has to take medication for the rest of her life. I said, "What are you talking about?" She tells me the guy that she was dealing with in an open relationship. She had only been dealing with one. He gave her herpes. She said he told her that he didn't know and he's sorry. She said she wants nothing to do with him and she's disgusted. He decided to move back home to Louisiana. He actually moved up here for her. She initially met him online. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I knew nothing of this. This kind of confirmed to me that my ex-wife was cheating on me before she even asked for the open marriage. She dropped to her knees and promised to never betray me and asked me to promise her that I'll stay with her because the vows say you're supposed to stick with your husband and wife for better or worse through thick and thin. This is the question I have for you all. Did I go too far by telling my ex-wife no and that we're getting a divorce and I want nothing to do with her? I moved out of the house immediately. We didn't own the house. By the way, this is a home that we were renting. We'd always rented single family homes. My ex wife was devastated once I went to a lawyer and I told him everything I wanted to do. I blocked my ex wife on my phone. I didn't want to talk to her. I avoided her. She went crazy. She started calling my family members, telling them everything. I'm divorcing her, and I was cheating on her. I made sure to spread the word about what happened, to let everyone know that she ended up contracting something from her little boyfriend, and I've never slept with her after she asked me for the open marriage. I also went and got tested, and I was fine. She was devastated, telling everyone that I abandoned her. Now, no one told me that she ran and said I gave her anything, but I was afraid that she was going to do that. But she was just saying I was trying to divorce her, but she wouldn't tell most people why I wanted the divorce. I had to make it clear to everyone why I was divorcing her and her family members. I let them know as well. Women are really good for spreading lies. I had one single person tell me that I was wrong for leaving my wife. I explained this to a friend of mine. He is also a preacher today. His father was a preacher when we were younger. I told him everything. How my wife was asking for the open marriage. How I believe she was cheating before asking me. How I ended up meeting other women and having fun with. Them and she had someone who ended up giving her an STD. And this old friend of mine told me that I was wrong because I'm the man. And I decided to go along with this open relationship, and there's consequences for everything. And my consequence was my wife catching an STD. I needed to stay with her instead of sending her out into the world to be with other people. I'm sorry I disagreed with that, but he was pretty serious about what he said and told me just because he's my friend, he's not going to sugarcoat anything for me. He's going to be completely honest. I want you guys to answer this. Did I go too far? Should I have just shut it down? I feel like, yeah, I probably should have divorced my wife when she asked for open marriage. I do get that. But was I wrong? Am I the reason why she caught the STD? Am I wrong for leaving her because I'm sending her around the world with toxic cooch to give to someone else? Questions that need answers. During a divorce meeting, my ex-wife really tried to argue that it was my fault for the divorce. Ex-wife's lawyer. Your Honor, my client has suffered not only the physical toll of her condition, but also the emotional devastation of abandonment. The vows exchanged during marriage include in sickness and in health. This sacred promise was flagrantly broken when the husband chose to leave my client during one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. My lawyer. Your Honor, while it is true that marriage vows often include in sickness and in health, those vows do not obligate my client to remain in a marriage where his trust has been egregiously violated. The sickness in question arose due to infidelity on the part of the ex-wife. This is not a case of abandonment. This is a case of justified separation based on betrayal. Ex-wife's lawyer. Regardless of the circumstances leading to my client contracting the illness, the fact remains that her husband walked away when she needed him most. Marriage is a commitment to endure challenges together, not to leave at the first sign of difficulty. My lawyer. The difficulty in question is not a mere challenge of life, but a direct consequence of the ex-wife's conscious decision to violate the marriage covenant. My client did not break his vows. Rather, the ex-wife's actions shattered the foundation of the marriage itself. Ex-wife's lawyer. Even if there was infidelity, marriage is not a contract that permits abandonment upon the first sign of hardship. My client has shown remorse and sought to repair the relationship, yet the husband refused to even consider reconciliation. My lawyer. Your Honor, this is not a case of a mere hardship. It is about the irreparable breach of trust and the emotional harm inflicted on my client. While my client is empathetic toward her condition, he is under no obligation to endure a marriage that has been fundamentally compromised by betrayal. Judge. Counselor, let me make one thing abundantly clear. While this court is bound to uphold the law and remain impartial, we must also recognize the underlying facts and emotions involved in cases like this. If an individual in a marriage breaches the fundamental trust of that union by engaging in extramarital affairs and, as a result, contracts a sexually transmitted disease, it is entirely reasonable for the other spouse to feel that the marriage is no longer viable. Let me be candid. If I were in such a situation, I would also struggle to see how the marriage could continue. The betrayal alone is significant, but when compounded by the potential harm to one's health, it moves beyond emotional injury to physical consequences. In this case, the husband has every legal right to seek a divorce. Infidelity combined with the transmission of an STD constitutes not only a profound breach of marital trust, but also an endangerment of the innocent spouse's well-being. The law provides clear remedies for such scenarios, and the husband is fully within his rights to pursue them. My ex-wife cried the whole time. We had some money saved together in a joint account, $11,000 and some change. It was split between the both of us. My ex-wife stayed in the home we were renting, and I moved out officially, October of last year. During Thanksgiving, she had her mother reach out to me to come to dinner with them. I declined the invitation. I don't want to be around her or her family. In fact, I stayed home for the holidays. Vanessa came over to my apartment and cooked food for us and stayed the night. Crystal, I know, is gearing up for school in the fall, but I stopped dealing with her in the middle of my divorce. She wanted to get serious, but I told her she was young and she needs to live a little. She took it hard and told me she was going to find her man. She wants an older man. We are friends on Facebook, and she indeed is in a relationship with a guy who's older. He's in graduate school or something. Raina, I stopped dealing with as well because she started begging me for favors like gas money, bill money, taking her son to school, etc. Vanessa and I just hit it off well, but she understands that I'm not looking to rush into anything serious after my divorce. We do hang out a lot. I don't know, maybe I will end up with her. Only time will tell. But honestly, did I go too far?
Look, man, OP, you did the right thing. You're asking the question, did I go too far? Did I hurt her? Listen, man, she hurt herself. She did this to herself. Now, I would say if your wife is asking you for an open marriage, clearly she's cheating. Clearly you need to divorce her. You know what I mean? Like, I would have divorced her right away. Just wasting your time as far as like, well, I'm just going to go meet this girl and deal with this girl and do this and do that. Like, you're risking a lot. Just go for the divorce and go be single. You know what I mean? Go for the divorce and go be single. There's no need to play that game. It's stupid and it's childish. You know what I mean? Guys, if you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That is truestorynation@gmail.com. I'll catch you guys at the next one.